Oh, okay.
Okay, it's recording. Okay, please go on.
So today I'll be talking about detecting phishing pages in compromised websites. So phishing pages are basically pages that aim to replicate a legitimate website in order to steal your information, which I think you guys know. And compromised websites are basically websites where it is a legitimate website, but some parts of it has been injected to replicate a phishing website. So what's the current approach that is used to detect phishing websites? Currently, most of them are based on comparing the web pages against a set of known targets using like similarity features, like image similarity features. However, there's a problem you that you are only able to find websites that you know that people are phishing for. So for example, if there's a new company being set up, say Zoom, and no one ever did phishing for Zoom before, and then now you have to modify your approach to include people that are phishing for Zoom. So what the proposed approach for this paper is leveraging adversarial behavior of cyber criminals to detect phishing pages in compromised websites by comparing the homepage to phishing page. As you can see, the homepage is those two images on the left, and it looks very different from the phishing page on the right. So they hope by comparing how they look, you can know whether a page is different, whether a page is phishing. So this is basically their what they call delta fish. So I'll first talk about the top part, basically where they take a website and then they get the homepage URL.
So let me recap it. So I think everyone should follow, but actually that's good for me to recap it so that we can. So I'm going to make sure everyone is on the same page. So the idea, so the rationale is that suppose the phishing web page is injected into a benign or compromised website. The injected phishing will looks very different in terms of style or genre to the other web pages in the website, right? So that's the rationale. So the basic idea is that you're going to find the visual similarity or visual genre or style similarity between this web page and all the rest of pages in the website.
Okay.
Am I
so
right?
basically, yeah, correct. You're right. So basically, in this delta fish network, you can see that here from the input URL, you get X and X naught, where X naught is the homepage URL. And then they extract out the HTML features and visual features. Visual features are basically where they compare the pictures of the two web pages and then they put them into their classifier. So first, I'll talk about the HTML features. So why is there the need for two components?
Let me get back to the previous slide.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here you assume that we already have this phishing page. Hello?
Yeah.
So the input URL, so it means that giving this data phishing, it has already now the URL of this phishing page or the suspicious page.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Okay, a little bit disappointing. I'm a little bit disappointed because one of the challenges in your work, in your research work, is that giving a compromise, suppose we have already now this web page is compromised. We would like to discover or look for the potential injected phishing page in this website.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
the idea
they assume that this web page has already found. So they're using another technique to decide whether this is an injected page or injected phishing page.
The idea of this is that they say that this can be put into a Chrome extension, and then as you surf the web, it can tell you whether the page is phishing or not. That's their idea.
Okay, still phishing detection.
Yeah, still phishing detection. Yeah, but that's their idea. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Just let me go through it. So why is there need for two components? Because HTML components, it can be like it can be you can modify the HTML code so that it cannot be able to detect. So they use both in order to be more thorough. So the key addition is that in legitimate websites, the layout is similar to the homepage. So like we can see that from the first and second picture, both of them had a similar like header and links. But on the third phishing page, the layout is completely different. So let me just say, these are the features that they use. I'll just briefly describe them. So the first one is the URL feature. Okay, so first I need to talk about this jar cut index, which they use for all the features. So basically, the jar cut index is just the intersection divided by the total sample size. So for example, the Jakarta index for this will be 0.3, 0.333, because 3 is the only only common intersection between them. Yeah, okay, so the URL features is
0.3 and should be the 0.2, right?
Eh?
So the 1/5. So
Oh yeah, correct, sorry. 0.2, 0.2. My bad. Sorry, 0.2, yes.
Okay.
So basically what they do is that they use the visitor page and then they compare it to the home page. So for in this case, and then see what links are linked in the visitor page versus the home page. So in this case, UX is the links linked in the home page and UX not is the link in the visitor page. So in this case, the only common link is the second one. So the score here is 0.2. So, and then the score is also calculated for the set of second level domains. So in the example below, the only common domain is second level domain is example.com. So that means the score is 1. Then they also compare the style tag from both the visitor page and the home page to see how many similar style tags there are. And then they compare the style sheet links. And then they compare the image links also.
Do you have any examples for the style links?
They did not give any example, but they just said that they just compare directly, like whether the style is the same.
Then this paper is still a little bit straightforward. Okay, please go on.
Yeah, then they compare the image links also. They took the copyright feature. They see, like, because at the bottom of the pages, normally they have a copyright 2009, whatever. And then they just compared the two words. And then they use this feature called the X link, which equals to 1 if the home page is linked in the second page, in the main page.
Okay, that is all for the features, right? And
yeah.
How about they decide the visual similarity?
Oh, okay. Let me go that. So first thing they do you can see from here, this is how they do they take the input image, they generate color features and hot features after image tiling, and then they stack it together and use a similarity-based representation.
Let me see. The color features. And what does this 21 means?
Also, okay, let me explain it. So basically, how they do it is that they split the images into 21 different things. Like here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 until 21.
Why 21?
This is actually I think it's just to extract like different, because they use the hawk, and I think that's why they do it like that, so that because like I think the idea is that like the top part should be similar, but then like the bottom part may not be similar. So if you just evaluate the whole thing as 1, right, you might get a poor similarity score when it's actually some of them are quite similar. That's the idea, I think.
Yeah, so actually you are just providing different scale, right? That's just more like the spatial pyramid features in existing the visual analysis approach. You take the whole pictures, you're taking the quarters, then you divide them into more smaller grade.
Yeah.
For each grade, or for each big grade or small grade, and you will have their features. So let's go back to the previous slide. And yeah, so now we have 21 ties. Suppose it was not the 21 ties, right? It should be 1 + 4 + 21. Right, so it is supposed to be 26.
No, because it's 1 + 4 + 16, right?
Yeah, so sorry. You said that's okay. My mistake. It's 21. Okay. Yeah, please go on.
So they extract the hawk features. So basically they calculate the histogram oriented gradients for all 21 input images, and then they have like a hidden a pre-trained dictionary of 300 words based on, and then they classify it to the closest word based on the back of visual words model. So you can see in the picture below, they take image how, then they use a 8x8 hawk image. Yeah. Then they match it to the closest visual word in the vocabulary.
Closest feature. So it means that as long as as long as one of the Hog vectors is similar to the others, they believe it is similar.
Uh,
Do you get what I mean?
I think
So suppose you can see there's for each image tile, it will be converted into 8 by 8 cells, right? That
yes,
actually actually it's a hog vector, and each hog vector will be turned into histograms like this one. So we have 21 tiles, right? So we have 21 tiles. So it is supposed that we will have 21 on histogram.
yes. I think for each tile they match it to a word.
Hmm?
For each tile they match it to the closest like word in their dictionary, in their vocabulary, which is basically the word is like a bunch of histograms, and then they just match it to the most similar one.
It calculates 300 hog features from the image tile.
No, this for here, this is their vocabulary that they have, right? And then
Vocabulary, how do they define the vocabulary?
basically they just have a bag that they have a predetermined bag of visual words, like a bunch of histograms, and then they just assign it to the closest one.
How do they predefine the vocabulary?
They did not say it, but they just say that they somehow got 300 visual words.
Consider that they only compare a suspicious web page and the homepage of this website, right?
Yeah,
And each screenshot will be turned into 21 image tile, right?
correct.
And for each image tile, it will extract the hog vector,
Correct.
right? So our question lies in your vocabulary. So in this process, why do we need a vocabulary?
Why do they need a vocabulary?
Yes,
It's probably to reduce the feature space.
reduce the feature space, but there's not many feature space.
As in for here, because they have a 31 times 4 dimension. For each tile, they have 31 times 4, right?
Each tile, each tile, it has only 31. It has only 31 dimension, right? Each tile will become basically each tile will be converted into a vector with 31 dimension.
Yeah, so they want to reduce it to a single dimension, I guess.
Reduce into a no. You can see. Consider this. It will have the final is each image tile will be turned into a 300 dimension vector.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
Right. That's a problem. So here, so if I understand correctly, these 300 vocabulary or these 301 are predefined. So why do we need to predefine the 300 hog vectors for an image? Yeah. So why do we need this process?
Uh, is it? Wait.
And I also have the question of the 2 by 2 cell stacking. And what do they mean by 2? Okay, so anyone have an idea of you can just speak.
Oh, okay. So I think they do some kind of normalization. So here, they will have 8 times 8 cells. Then for each cell, you will get a histogram. This histogram is of shape 31. But then if you just look at one cell, then this gradient may be concentrated. I think they do a sliding window to normalize these 4 grids, to normalize the histogram for these 4 grids, then normalize this 4. Then it will become 31 times 4. So it's some kind of normalization, I think.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so if there's a sliding window to turn these hog vectors into a hog descriptors, but what is reason and why do they match to the close the visual word in the vocabulary, and what this visual vocabulary means, and those visual words means? Maybe they predefine some style, something like this. Okay, maybe, anyway, so somehow, but I think when we are discussing here, I'm afraid that some of the students may get a little bit lost. So I just give a comment because I'm not going to dig to details anyway. So basically, if you're when you're preparing the results, I think anyway, the overall idea of this paper is quite simple. But when you go to details, it's good to bring us some computer vision knowledges. For example, it's better for you to describe what is hog vectors, right? So it's better for us to describe hog vectors and how the hog vectors will be used, whether it has some applications. So basically, hog vectors is kind of the embeddings. It's basically a traditional embedding way. For now, focusing on Wang Chao and Zheng Feng are describing or working on the neural network model embeddings to actually learn a spatial embeddings. When a hog vector, before the neural network model is invented or applied, get popular, all the computer vision researchers or people are using hog vectors to do the embedding. So basically, I think it will be beneficial or helpful if you can describe what is hog vectors. So based on this process, we can generally understand that given the image tile, it will be extract a few hog vectors or a set of hog features. And when they have got a few hog vectors, it will predefine a few patterns because each hog vector here, suppose each, let me see, let me understand, if as far as I understand, each vector here will be represented one of the predefined features for the image tile. So when we extracted a 31 plus 4 dimension standard hog vectors, it will going to match those vocabulary. Then it will going to basically this 300 is predefined style or genre. So whatever it is. So basically we're just mapping to these 300 dimensional vectors. Okay, that's all my descriptions. And anyone here have questions here? Anyone have questions?
Hello. If one tile is only matched to one of the vocabulary, then how do we get this frequency distribution?
Chinjo, can you answer it?
I think how they do it is that for each 8 by 8 cell, they have one word. That's what, I think that's what they are doing. And then they have a frequency based on multiple 8 by 8 cells. They were not very clear in their thing also, so I'm not very sure what they were doing. So yeah, that's appears what they're doing. They split it up into 8 by 8 cells for each image tile, and then they generate for each cell they generate one word, and then so you get a series of words after you put all the 8 by 8 tiles in the image tile together. Does that make sense?
Okay, so I think we spent enough time here. So interested students can look into the details, how they're using the hog vectors to define, basically it's just turn an image tile into a set of vectors. And basically because hog vectors is a very powerful tool, before neural network model is getting popular. So I encourage every of you, if you're interested, you can just investigate the details of hog vector. Okay, please go on.
Okay, so sorry, let me clear this. So okay, so we got a hot vector. So the next one is the color features. Wait, sorry, color features, which is basically they convert the RGB image to HSV, and then they do the same image tiling, and then they just compute a histogram, basically with the HSV channels, to get 288 values. Okay, so now then the next one is the similarity-based representation. So it calculates this S2, where here P is the feature for the input page and P0 is the home page. So for each feature, they calculate the minimum. This actually I'm not too sure. Why do they calculate the minimum here actually?
Basically, cosine similarity is better, right?
Yeah, like that makes no sense to calculate a minimum when you're trying to calculate when you're trying to do similarity, right?
So what does P represents?
P basically is they stack all these 2 times 21 times 288 and 21 times 300, right? And then they just compare. P is this 21 times 288 plus 21 times 300. P is for the input page and P0 is for the home page.
Let me see where the P0 is the home page. P is the input page.
Yeah.
It's taking the minimum.
They take a minimum for each coordinate, which to me doesn't really make sense. I have no idea why do they do that.
Yeah, I think if the cosine similarity would be more intuitive solutions for that. Even the Euclidean distance is more, it's interesting. Maybe maybe different the minimum. I'm not sure I'm not sure actually. At least if you want to see, if you want to using the delta, even the difference is even better, right? If you're just using P minus P0, that will be even a better choice than minimum, right?
Okay, so yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. Like, it doesn't make sense to me to calculate the minimum. Maybe they, I don't know. Then basically they use the SVM to optimize for the similarity.
So they still need to have to learn, right?
Yeah.
Because have to learn. So how do they get the training data?
Wait, I'll talk about that later.
Okay.
So basically okay, actually I don't. Yeah, so basically, in order to combine both classifiers, they use a radical basis function kernel. Basically, it's just a machine learning thing to optimize for the best parameters for S and S1. Like, what is the value to use? Yeah. So okay, basically how they did it was they collected about 5,000 web pages with known phishing pages, and then they use that as the training data set.
How do they collect the compromised websites? That's what I'm interested in. How do they got the compromised websites?
They actually, I was looking at that also, but they actually did not talk about it. They just said that they got it from Fish Tank, and then they manually validated it. So I think they manually did it.
Maybe we can send an email to ask for their data. We're kind of interested for those compromised websites.
I think they did include their data, so I'll post it in the group if I can find it.
Okay, you can just take the notes to try to find those data. That will be useful. And I think Ruofan is also keeping sending you the new compromised URL, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so basically the HTML based classifier is able to detect 97% of the fish websites while misclassifying less than 0.5%. And the snapshot based classifier is able to detect 80% of fish websites while misclassifying less than 1%. So actually their HTML based classifier performs a lot better.
HTML based classifier.
Yeah.
But they should have a combination, right?
They did not, in the end, they did not post the results for the combination. They just did it like separately.
You can see the most contribution lies in the snapshot based classifier, right? But you can say they spend so many times is
No, actually, if you see, sorry, actually, these are the results. Wait, if you see the second one, right, you can see that most of it, yeah, actually, most of it is based on the HTML. If you look at the second one, most of it is based on the HTML classifier. That's the one with the, so the second one is if they base it on the HTML classifier, this is their line, right? You can see that it's pretty accurate. But if they base it a lot more on the image classifier, then it's not as accurate. You know what? This line basically indicates where is safe and where is misclassified and not classified.
The red one is the red dots are efficient, and the blue ones are
safe sites. So actually, here there's a lot.
So here there's 2 dimensions. So basically, it actually using the 2-dimensional score to classify on the phishing and non-phishing web pages, right?
Correct.
I think. Okay, please. What is your point?
But I think there's some problems with how they calculate the like how they calculate their false positive, and because when for their blue points, right, they take pages from their phishing web pages. They don't go into like the random web and take out pages. So basically, they are getting pages from the already compromised website. If you know what I mean.
Yes, I know that.
So actually, like if you go out into the wild, there may be sites with very different. Maybe it's a blog or something where people can contribute their own stuff, and
what I'm thinking is that the blue ones are suppose there's a compromised web page. The blue one are the non-phishing, non-homepage web page.
Correct. Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, and so the red ones are the phishing page injected into the compromised websites. Correct. So my question is here that so the black line is actually the classification boundary.
Correct.
Right? The classification boundary, and for each dimension, you can see we have 2 dimensions for all these pictures. As far as I can see, as far as I can read, I think the distribution of blue and the red points are the same in all 3 pages, all 3 images.
Correct.
The only difference is that the decision boundary, right? Decision boundary. So the first seems like using some rule-based heuristics to draw a straight line on the space, and the second and the third are using some machine learning-based approach to learn the decision boundary.
All right. I think if I'm not wrong, the second one is based on this classifier, and then the first one is based on they use a threshold. They use basically a min-max threshold to classify.
And how about the third one?
The third one, let me check. They actually don't say.
I think they must say.
Wait,
because
let me see.
Because EuroSense is a second-tier conference, so the authors must specify the details. But it depends on how much you understand.
Oh, sorry. The right one is adversarial fusion. The
adversarial fusion.
Adversarial fusion, which is sorry, give me a sec. Wait, I know they talked about it, but I forgot about it.
I think you should spend more time to do the paper presentations.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, I think you should spend more time on the paper presentations here. Yeah, and especially we're recording, and I put it on the YouTube channel, so you can see the audience can see that. Right, the audience can see that.
Yeah. Okay, but basically they just use some machine learning models for the left ones, which is based on this this radical basis function kernel.
Okay, please go on.
So, but they don't talk about how they deal with like sub-cart domains, because like we saw, some phishing domains can be like injected in a subcart, which make the homepage not. It's not clear whether they use the homepage as the top level domain or the second top level domain. You know what I mean?
So current domains.
Yeah.
Maybe we can start with the second questions. The page is compromised or malicious.
Yeah. And so they also don't talk about how they know whether a page is compromised or maliciously registered, but they said that they use manual validation to extract out their phishing URLs. And I said that the false positive rate should be randomly obtained from random websites rather than using existing phishing websites. Because when you are using this like tool out in a while, you do not want to be going in onto a random page and then getting a phishing alert for no reason. So you will not only be visiting phishing websites when you are using this, but you're visiting all kinds of websites.
But for my concern, I think these questions are the follow-up questions. From my point, we haven't solved the first question. Is that how do we know there's a page injected in these compromised website? So before answer that questions, and all the rest questions because we have read a few papers. Basically, you even reported, and I think you are one of the FYP students who have the most presentations, and your presentations are kind of brief. But anyway, from previous presentations, I feel your despite your presentation is brief, but actually it was touch the point. But it seems that but for this approach, you just skip it. I understand that you get it, you grasp the gist, but sometimes some details you are just ignored. And I think, and for these key questions, yes, we can answer these key questions. But have you reached the end of your presentation?
Yeah, this is my end.
Is this the end of questions? Well, you just raised a few questions. Yeah, so I would like to give the comments of Qingzhou's presentation. So I do not answer these questions because these questions, these questions are valid, but it's too far for us to investigate these questions. But I would like to give some comments. First, Qingzhou has some merits and advantages to reporting the papers, and this advantage or these merits also shared by Wang Chao and Ruofan, etc. So they are very good at extract the key points from the papers. Giving long papers, they're very good at extract the key points. But one of the missing point from this presentation that is miss the details. So they do have a few technical details, but they do have some points to criticize. If I'm going to ask the questions, I'm going to ask, why they design the technical vectors, and also they are comparing the HTML classifier and the visual classifiers. But it seems that the HTML classifier should be it's much better than the visual classifiers. So why bother just to use the HTML classifier? Yeah, right. So we can, if I'm the reviewers, I'm going to raise these kind of questions. But what we read the paper is just
they actually did mention why they use both, because they believe that a HTML classifier can be fooled if their methods are known. That's why they use both.
Can be fooled, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So whatever it is, we read the paper is not just for reading the papers. We read the paper to facilitate our research. So Qingzhou, based on these presentations, you may need to look into their data and how they collect the compromised data. And that's what we're interested in. And also you need to investigate. Basically, there's two challenges, which is still a long overdue task. And we think we make kind of little progress on these to address these questions. Maybe you can take notes. The first question is that how do we know and how do we classify a website is a phishing vulnerable website or a potentially compromised website, right? This is the first challenge that we need to face. And the second challenge is that even if we know this website is compromisable, so maybe it is compromisable by the exploit key, and how do we know this web page has been already compromised. And if it has been compromised, how do we find and look for its injected phishing page, right? So basically, we are going to address these two challenges so that we will have research work done. And then, yeah, so I understand these questions are kind of challenges, but anyway, we are working toward this direction.
Actually, they did mention how they got the data set. They got it from the fish tank feed, which I
Yeah, but the fish tank provide very low quality, Maybe you can still work on raw fans data. I suggest you still work on raw fans data there. Okay, so I think, is there anyone who has a question for this report or for this presentation? If not,